Talk to me about this idea of fasting, because I was surprised to hear that you actually do some pretty serious fasts.
Yes.
I had a guest here recently named Timothy Sheaf who had experimented with fasting and then did a 35-day water fast, which was very controversial. He claimed to get a lot of healing and a lot of clarity. Caused me to do a 36-hour water fast, which was small, but I appreciated what was going on there. Why should people think about fasting? What's your experience with fasting?
Well, I've been doing it for more than 30 years, and I do it every year for between 3 and 7 days. It's a water fast.
That's long.
And I do it during Lent because that's the traditional fasting period in the Christian tradition. I usually do it in Holy Week leading up to Easter, which is the most traditional time.
Is this a nice way of reminding us that all of these practices have been around before in religions?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, every religion has fasting. You know, obviously Muslims do in Ramadan. That's food and drink during daylight hours. Yeah. Jewish people have it at Yom Kippur. Hindus have numerous fasts during the course of the year.
So these religions have given us all of this historic collective knowledge, probably built up over 5, 10, 20,000 years, even before they were established religions and took all of our pagan ways. And yet we throw them out the window in this century because religion's not cool anymore. And we throw out all of our practices as well.
Yes, well, I think it's a great shame that people, because these practices, as you say, have been developed over a very long period. And if we look back at the history of fasting, our ancestors who were hunter-gatherers didn't get 3 big meals a day. You know, there were periods in the year when there wasn't much food. And wild animals have periods when they don't get much food. So we've evolved to live without food for periods of time and then have food at other times. The idea of regular food supplies every single day is completely unnatural and very modern. I mean, even in the Middle Ages, even in the 19th century, there were a lot of people who didn't get regular meals every day all through the year. Even in parts of the world today, in agricultural societies, there are. And all living organisms have developed with this intermittent food supply. If you take bacteria, E. coli, the famous bacterium, or yeast cells, and you starve them, they live much longer than if they have constant food. If you take mice and you feed them on alternate days, they live 30% longer than mice that get food every day. There's something about the physiology of our bodies where fasting is a way of detoxifying the system, and it's almost necessary to detoxify our systems. So fasting is the simplest, cheapest, and most easily available way in which we can all improve our health. When I say all, I mean, there are some people who shouldn't fast. I mean, if you're suffering from terminal anorexia, is not a good recommendation, or if you're very ill, or if you're a child, a growing child. But for most normal adults, I think fasting is enormously beneficial.
And what's happening spiritually when you're fasting? What are the kind of things that's going on in your brain and your energy?
Well, the first day of fasting, you feel hungry, and what goes on for me during the first day is mostly feeling hungry and, you know, to attend, you know, trying to forget about the hunger pangs. It's not very spiritual the first day. And if you've not fasted before, by the end of the first day, you're likely to get a headache, because as the fat is flushed out of your fat cells, a lot of toxins that you've built up over the years are flushed out with it.